Gwyn's sacrifice accomplished what no lord had believed possible. By offering his own lord's soul to the kiln of the first flame, he rekindled the fading fire and prolonged the age of fire beyond its natural end. The light returned, the gods' age continued, and the world was spared the transition into the age of dark. But the first flame had not been restored to its original strength. It had only been sustained. Like a fire fed with dwindling fuel, it continued to burn, yet each passing age left it weaker than before. Gwyn had delayed the inevitable, but he had not prevented it. From that moment onward, the world no longer followed the natural succession of ages. Instead, it became dependent upon the continued preservation of the flame. The consequences of that decision would not be felt immediately. Only as the first flame began to fade once again, did a new affliction spread throughout the kingdoms of men. It became known as the Undead Curse. To those living during this age, the curse appeared without explanation. Ordinary men and women found themselves branded with a strange symbol upon their flesh, a ring of fire surrounding a dark center. This mark was known as the Darksign. To the people of Lordran, its origin was a mystery, but hidden beneath centuries of forgotten history lay a far older truth. Long ago, when the furtive pygmy divided the dark soul, every human inherited a fragment of that ancient power. Humanity itself was born from these fragments, and within every person remained a piece of the dark soul. Many scholars believe that Gwyn, fearing the rise of an age of dark, sought to suppress this inheritance. According to this interpretation, the Darksign was not merely a curse, but a seal, a ring of fire placed upon humanity to bind the dark soul within each human and preserve the age of fire. As long as the first flame remained strong, that seal endured. But as the flame weakened, so too did the seal. The darkness contained within humanity began to break free. The Undead Curse was not simply an illness, nor was it a punishment inflicted by the gods. It was a consequence of the fading flame and the weakening of the power that had restrained humanity's true nature for countless ages. Those branded by the Darksign discovered that death no longer marked the end of life. Whenever they fell, they rose again, and again. Death became temporary, but every return carried a cost. Each resurrection slowly eroded memories, emotions, and identity. Names were forgotten, faces lost their meaning, promises faded. Over time, even the strongest sense of self began to disappear until only an empty existence remained. This condition became known as hollowing. To many, hollowing appeared to be a descent into madness. Yet the truth was more complex. Before the discovery of the Dark Soul, humans had existed as hollows. The Dark Soul gave mankind individuality, ambition, memory, and purpose. As the power of fire diminished and the Darksign weakened, humans gradually reverted toward that ancient state. In this sense, hollowing was not a transformation into something new, but a return to what humanity had once been before the Age of Fire. Even so, hollowing was not inevitable. An undead who retained a clear purpose could continue resisting its effects for years, perhaps even centuries. Some dedicated themselves to an oath, others to the pursuit of knowledge, revenge, or the search for loved ones. As long as they possessed a reason to continue forward, their minds endured despite countless deaths. Only when that purpose was abandoned, fulfilled, or lost did Hallowing truly take hold. Throughout the history of Lordran, countless undead followed this path. Some wandered endlessly in pursuit of forgotten goals. Others slowly lost themselves as hope disappeared. The curse did not claim everyone at the same pace, but it claimed nearly everyone in the end. Fear spread across the kingdoms. The appearance of the Darksign became a source of panic, and those afflicted were no longer treated as ordinary people. Families abandoned them, kingdoms imprisoned them. Entire communities came to view the undead as a danger that could not be allowed to remain among the living. To contain the growing number of cursed individuals, undead asylums were established. There, those bearing the Darksign were confined indefinitely, separated from the outside world while awaiting a fate that would never come. Since the undead could not truly die, many remained imprisoned until they eventually lost all sense of who they had once been. Yet even as despair spread, another story began to circulate. It spoke of a chosen undead. According to the legend, one among the cursed would one day leave the undead asylum, journey to the ancient kingdom of Lordran, ring the bells of awakening, and learn the fate of the undead. To many, this prophecy became the last source of hope. But the prophecy itself carried another layer of mystery. By the time of Dark Souls, King Seeker Frampt, Dark Sun Gwendolyn, and the Way of White had embraced and promoted this legend, directing countless undead toward Lordran. Whether they preserved an ancient prophecy or deliberately shaped it to guide undead toward linking the first flame remains uncertain. What is clear is that generation after generation of undead followed the same path, believing they might become the one destined to save the world. The Way of White also played a central role in humanity's response to the curse. As the dominant religious order devoted to the gods, it gathered the cursed, oversaw the confinement of many undead, and encouraged pilgrimages to Lordran. To the faithful, these journeys offered the possibility of salvation. To others, they appeared to serve another purpose, ensuring that there would always be undead willing to continue the Age of Fire. Thus, the kingdoms endured, not because the curse had been cured, but because it had been given a purpose. Far to the north, within the walls of the Northern Undead Asylum, one nameless undead remained imprisoned like countless others before them. They possessed no kingdom, no title, no memory of the life they had once lived. Only the Darksign burned upon their flesh. Soon, an unexpected visitor would arrive, a knight from the kingdom of Astara. And with his final act, the fate of the world would once again be placed in the hands of a single undead. The Age of Legends had ended. The story of the Chosen Undead was about to begin.